Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL Pro Tour Europe Weekly. We're here with the grand finals to decide who's going to get first place, the lion's share, $400, as well as, of course, those ESL Pro Tour points. I'm Nathanias, and we are on Death Aura Ladder Edition. In the top left, spawning as the blue Terran player, we have Heromarine. Fantastic Terran, who's, well, I mean, they call it the Big Game Weekly for a reason. He was right here last week, had a phenomenal series with Showtime, and here he is again, going up against the Red Zerg player. Can he be overcome? He is Reynor. And we have some exciting matches today, man. It's really been absolutely insane. We just got to see Reynor play a wild series versus Clem. And frankly speaking, I'm definitely concerned for Heromarine here. Like, Heromarine is fantastic. He's very good. I got nothing but good things to say about him as a player. But I thought that Clem played some of the best TvZ I've seen out of a foreigner in a very long time. And Reynor still took 3-1. Clapped him, smacked him, crushed him. I never thought about this, but I guess the Overlords can cross the map a little faster too if you rally them to go through the speed zones. For anybody who doesn't know, Death Aura has a cool thing called, they're the opposite of the Bubulas. These, they're called acceleration zones, and they greatly increase how fast units move. It's by 35%. So it's a pretty big speed buff. Makes it a little bit easier to kind of reposition certain types of units. If you're flying something that's slow, using this space instead of going around it is a good thing. So you got to be careful. First Reaper shows up, trying to get some work done. If there's one thing I can say that Reynor has also been perfect on, and I'm going to use the word perfect, he hasn't really been losing like anything. Like he hasn't really been losing anything to the early Reapers. I think one game in the last best of 5, Reynor lost 1 Ling to a Reaper. So even that is just absolutely wild to think about. Now, he has done a good job of kind of trying to zone out that third, which is nice. Actually, pretty awesome. Here comes the third, the starport. And possibly a third command center coming up soon. We'll have to see how greedy he wants to be, how aggressive he wants to be. And Reynor's going to go take that third. He sees that the Reaper is checking the other base, and that's the perfect opportunity for him to slip onto the other position. It's possible he was hoping he'd go there. We do have a pretty early lair from Reynor, though. Definitely quick. Isn't it funny to watch Hellions drive through these? Ready? Oh, what? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he's going this way. He doesn't need to go through the zone. He could have. No, he could have gone. It's okay. It's okay. I won't be upset. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to be. I wanted to see the Hellion. I want to see cargo vroom. So this is going to be a couple of Marines and Hellbats with that Reaper. So every unit here actually ends up being pretty important. And yeah, we some inconsiderate comments in the chat talking and asking about stuff like viewer count, etc. Twitch is dying. Fortnite had I think over 2 million people watching today, and Twitch has just been crapping out pretty hard. So yeah, actually, of course, I already got an email from Twitch saying that my stream ended like halfway through. So I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, Twitch itself is just kind of bugging out today. So we do actually have a Baneling nest this time around compared to Eternal Empire versus Clem. 3 Banelings are being made. If they do their job, then should be enough to thwart this attack. Solid splits so far from Heromarine, but is he going to be able to get to drones? I'm not sure. Is he going to be able to kill any drones or actually deal real damage to his opponent that matters in a big, meaningful way? I'm not certain just yet. You'd love to get this hatch. He's trying to pull some of these units a little bit further back, but there's the Baneling. Gets a good detonation on most of the Hellbats, and here come a few more. Just pretty well defended by Reynor here. I mean, I think Heromarine's micro has not been terrible, but now that the medevac is gone, there's a timer on this. Oh, Liberator shows up on the main base, though. We have one drone, too, and he can actually, at the very least, kill these building drones. Oh, my God. Did that time out perfectly or what? Hits the egg in the worst possible moment. He does get a few more kills on the way out, but the Spire is done. So Reynor, he doesn't really have a lot of gas, does he? I guess pulling him off that one base, even for a little bit, helped quite a lot. Heromarine is building a Thor because he kind of scouted this, right? Like, he knows. So a Thor and Vikings this early on. Will they stop mutas? Yes. I guess this is kind of an interesting situation when you really think about it. The worker count is even, so there's no longer really a need for Heromarine to do big damage. And since he's playing mech, it doesn't really matter what kind of economy Reynor has. If Heromarine builds the proper army and controls well, Terran mech can't lose. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. A couple Thor, a couple Mutalisks, a couple Vikings. It can end up being a kind of a weird fight. I'd actually like to see him put the Thor in single shot mode. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Thor is actually better against low numbers of mutas. A lot of people out there talk about the Thor splash attack, and they're like, yeah, but it does splash. Guys, the Thor's splash attack is the same size as a corrosive bile. I want you to think about that. It's the same size as a corrosive bile. Now, obviously, we know corrosive biles can do a lot of damage, but that's because they do 90, or like, well, yeah, is it like 90 or 60 damage or something crazy? I played too much co-op, so I feel like 90's in my head for some weird reason, but it's 60. Anyway, my point is, if the mutas don't clump up really hard, Thors just aren't really that impactful when they're in low numbers like this, but we'll see. Could end up getting a couple of pretty sweet shots. He does still have the Vikings, which is nice. If the muta count continues to grow, then yeah, you definitely want to leave it on splash mode. But if you only have a few, fun facts, because that Thor single attack, the extra range ends up having a pretty big impact on it, honestly. So the Vikings trying to push these Mutalisks away. I actually really like Vikings. Like, in low numbers, Vikings actually beat mutas if you micro and like focus fire, just because of the range. Ooh, look at them go. They got the zoomies. When I watch units like the Zerglings or the Mutalisks go through the speed boost zones, it makes me think about my golden retriever when it's time to go to sleep and he's like, I've decided to run 1,000 miles an hour around the apartment nonstop until I crash into something that makes you angry enough to pin me to the ground. Just like that Big Daddy Thor does. So those mutas they're trying to dance around, but they get too close to the Thors, they're gonna take some damage. I actually kind of like that he had like 2 Widow Mines. Where's the other one? Are they both in smart places? Oh yes, they're both behind the same. All right, I wasn't sure if there was one behind a different refinery. I didn't even see that one. Reynor poop and creep on the 4th. He's just gonna try and make that a pain in the butt to get. But the hard part about this type of situation for a Terran player, if I'm honest, is yes, he was safe because he opened Viking Thor, and yeah, he's killed some mutts. Oof. He's actually getting close to that +2 attack. Then Thor's 2-shot mutas. Actually getting some pretty good hits. Having that early +1 from the armory opening. It's just an unusual thing to see. But he's gonna try and run some Banes now that he's opened up the door. Oof. 9 SCVs blown to smithereens. And that, of course, is also going to open things up a little bit. I'm surprised he didn't try to get the turret with some of the residual damage, but that's okay. There's not actually... I mean, if you think about it, yeah, I was going to say, you could probably just kill this one missile turret and then just move in on it. Of course, the Thor, you got to be careful. +2 Thors. Does he have +1 flyer armor? No, he does not. So the mutas don't have any armor upgrades. Carapace, I guess I should say, but yeah. We have the mutas on the left, the Ling Bane on the right. So I think what Reynor wants to do is try to smash this base down while the siege tanks are over here. There's definitely a pretty big window to try and get through here. The mutas are going to go for the main base. There's not really anything here to help deal with it. Cyclone gets picked off. Missile turret 1 gone. And he's going to try and reposition the Thor. But if that Thor does not deal some serious damage... Oh, that could have been very deadly. I mean, honestly, if you're Heromarine in that situation, like any Terran player, when you see that many mutas fly into your main base and you only have like 1 or 2 turrets, you're losing it. Yeah, you're scared, man. If they just fly in and kill your factories because your army's out of position, it's actually so smart to have this medevac still, again, when you're playing mech. But, Banelings. Oh my god, did he? Okay. I was gonna say, make sure you kill the planetary. He did pick up 2 of the low health cyclones there as well. Now he's gonna restart that 4th. But you can't forget the Mutts coming back in, grabbing a good number of SCVs. We've seen 15 killed. And you know, I've had a lot of talks about this. I've tried to do a lot of analytical breakdowns. But the value of putting another planetary outside of Baneling range from your other planetary is so big. I think if you put a planetary right here, you could probably stop 99% of those busts. And the only reason I say planetary specifically is because it doesn't cost supply. But it's hard. It's really difficult to get everything that you need to try and lock all these places down, especially since he's already taken so much damage. And Heromarine has held on very well despite taking that damage. But you need a 4th. And right now, the only thing, if Reynor just keeps killing this 4th base, it's going to be very hard for him to lose. Oh, there's those Thors with that massive splash. I'm talking about 2-shotting mutas. Well, he at least kills the Thors, so the mutas could end up coming back into it in a little bit if they don't regen enough health for this Thor to be able to one-shot them. Yeah, because we all know the Mutalisks do recover their hit points pretty quickly. These repositionings are wild, though. It almost looks buggy with how fast the units move through the speed zones. And yeah, just click on the orbital. Oof. Yeah, no, this is... I don't know what to say anymore, guys. This looks painful. Heromarine... And the other problem is he's actually still been killing the Thors. So there really isn't a whole lot of anti-air here. Like, a lot of this supply right now is in the 7 siege tanks, which... I mean, siege tanks just aren't really... I don't know. I'm just gonna say it. I don't really think siege tanks are that amazing versus Zerg. Like, mixed in with some bio when you know they need Banelings, sure, but it's going to be really hard to make a push with this army. He needs Thors. He needs all the Thors. And guess what? Another one bites the dust. And he's going for the other one, too. They got one super Hellbat. Hellbat's a +3 armor, one-shot Lings, by the way. He can pre-siege these tanks and try to slowly crawl out, because it's mostly just Ling Bane. It's a massive amount of Ling Bane Muta. But there's only one Thor with the army. So if the Mutas come in, the potential to kill everything with just that is going to be really big. Banelings go completely around, and he just moved commands through the army so that splash damage can be maximized. And now the next wave is here. It is 3 Thors. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, we just build Thors, dude. Thors, man. I honestly think Thor, Hellion, with maybe some Liberators or something in this, more than enough. I can see you want tanks somewhat for the Banelings, but it's just really hard to make that actually work. Spread everything out. The Banelings don't do as much damage versus Thors as they used to. Keep pushing, keep killing, keep fighting. He's doing a really good job cracking down this 4th base. But now the Mutts come back, and this is where, you know, all those tanks didn't end up really being able to do a whole lot. GG, Reynor takes game number 1. Yeah, and for me, I honestly, like, I watched that game, and I'm a little overly critical. I'm sure you guys can tell. I definitely don't have to be so harsh on Heromarine. He's a fantastic player, but it does reaffirm some of my own personal thoughts about the matchup. Not that Terran is weak. It's just that, you know, the Thor, the merrier. All right, we're loaded in to game number 2 for our finals here of the ESL Pro Tour Europe Cup Weekly. It's June 15th, baby. Thank you very much, Plaguebird, for that 9-month resub. After 9 months, we now have a sub baby. I will name him Ricardo because I love to dance. In the top right, we've got Heromarine. Couldn't quite make it happen last game, and his opponent in the bottom left from Clash, it's Reynor. It's hard, right? You do that Hellbat push. It's like you do the Hellbat push, and then after the Hellbat push, you kind of see the Spire. You're thinking to yourself, how many Mutalisks are there really going to be, right? Do I need to get a Thor right now? Do I need to get Vikings and missile turrets? You certainly can. But if you're never able to snowball, and by snowball, I mean, you want to get a lot of Cyclones out. You want to have enough Cyclones and Hellions to get out on the map, which is hard to do when your opponent goes for mass muta. But that's kind of the momentum side. The big problem with Thors is they're not really good until you have a lot of them. If you can get up to 8 Thors and you're on 3 bases and you max out with Thors and Hellions and then whatever else, but you got like 8 Thors, you can win. I mean, there's really only a couple of things that Zerg can do that I think just like invalidates a really good Thor army. Assuming that you can't afford like Liberators or something. Obviously, Neural Parasite's a threat. Vipers can be a threat. But Thors actually outrange Vipers now, so it's like, I don't know. I'm still squarely on the side of, I think Thors are really, really, really strong against Zerg. Borderline OP. To the point where I feel pretty comfortable saying, if you want to play Mech versus Zerg, and you can't kill him with Cyclone Hellion, just mass Thors, dog. They're pretty freaking good. My dog just gave me a thumbs up. He agrees. Thors are awesome. Now, will the Reaper kill anything? Here's the real question. Let's jump into the mind of the Reaper. So, oh man, I unloaded 8 magazines into that guy. He still won't die. What the hell's wrong with him? Is he a goddamn zombie? Oh, I gotta check the other base. Oh no, another drone might have made it out. It's okay, I can still poke. Oh, there's no creep. All right, I got nothing. I got nothing to say. Spots the third base. That's my Reaper impression. He smokes a lot. That's why he's got such a coarse voice. I did not actually just phone in Tasteless. He's trying. It feels kind of sad watching anybody try to use a Reaper against Reynor. I don't know. It's actually, it's... I don't mean to like sound defeatist or anything, but I'm just like, sometimes I watch Reynor play and I'm like, how the does anybody beat this guy? And it's not like he's invincible, but man, he is incredibly good. He is incredibly good. So there's the Marine to try and deal with the Overlord going for a scout. We have the Pult Viking being made, but a second factory is tucked in where you would normally think, hey, maybe there's going to be something else. I love that. Shoots the Reaper with the Hellion AoE to get rid of the trace, the creep tumor. But the second factory, it's a Blue Flame Hellion build. So he's thinking to himself, you like to use Zerglings, don't you? Well, I happen to know a unit that's pretty damn good versus Zerglings, and creep tumors especially. It feels so weird that Hellions are good versus creep now. I've always been in the school of thought that like Hellions actually kind of sucked against tumors. Because like 50 hit points is a lot for an armored structure, right? But since it's light, it's not that hard to deal the damage you need to kill it. It really isn't. Not anymore. Not these days, no. In an armory. So it's going to be Blue Flame Hellbats. And he's going to get that medevac too. So it's going to once again largely boil down to Banelings. The Zerglings will be even less useful than they were in the previous game. And I love that he opened with the Viking too, because what it does is it opens up the door here in such a way that, oh, is he going to just do a Hellion drop and then maybe turn into Hellbats in his base? See, I don't mind that at all. There's the Baneling Nest and the Mute and the Spire. But he's got, okay, well, if he does, I guess the banelings don't matter if he's not going to do like a direct Hellbat assault. It'll be pretty easy for him, I think, to get some damage done here with these 4 Hellions with Blue Flame. And he can actually hit that base from the low ground, too. So he's got the Hellbats up front. And he's going to try and force him to build banelings. But he doesn't have to, the baneling nest actually isn't ready yet. And now the Hellions are inside of the main base, too. And there we go, turning into Hellbats right around that spawning pool. We have Heromarine dealing a devastating amount of damage. 13 drones plus dying. He's got the main base forfeit at the moment. Banelings are being made, but he has to split himself now between 2 different locations. And Heromarine says, you know what? I think I'm just going to try and go get your other stuff. Oh my god. I don't think he's going to cancel these. Or maybe he'll cancel 1 or 2. Not bad. Actually, no, being able to cancel literally any of that is pretty ace. More Hellions did rally across the map. They're not quite moving in yet, but oh my god. Yeah, then you remember Hellbat drops. Yeah, you can just put the Hellbat, tuck it in. Medivacs healing it up, keeping it so up. Oh, that's a lot of drones together, Tasteless. 3 Hellions rolling in. 33 plus drones have been roasted and toasted, trying to get the surround on Blue Flame. Jesus, this is one ugly fight, ladies and gentlemen. Oh! Oh! Heromarine ties it up. Holy sh**. I got nothing. Oh my god. Oh boy, I'm not gonna lie. That's a whole lot of Blue Flame, and I'm feeling very hot. I'm feeling hot and heavy and sweaty. My new superpower, though, because I live out in the desert, the sweat just immediately comes right off. Thank God. Holy shit. Wow. We're loading in to game number 3. It's tied 1-1, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Man. Today's games have really delivered, haven't they? Oh my god. Oh my god. Game 3. Let's do it. Let's get her done. I'm gonna finish this cast. I'm just gonna jump straight in the pool, man. Oh my god. Because I absolutely need to cool off after how hot and heavy this series has been. This series and the last one. In the bottom left, we got Reynor. In the top right, Heromarine. All right. Producer. Introduce the players. I already did it. Sometimes I still have nightmares about casting WCS with In Control and being told to introduce the players 30 times in a row by a producer we've never worked with before. No offense to that guy, but like, you know, it's just obviously not that important. Ooh. Let's just see what happens here. Let's just see what happens. Oh my god. We've got a little bit of every. I think the only thing we're missing is battle cruisers, right? Is that the only thing we haven't seen today in TvZ? We had the biome. We've had some mech memes. We just had mass Hellions. We've had mutas. We've had Ravagers sniping stim. We haven't had Nidus, right? Yeah, we haven't had like Nidus or anything like that. I don't know. I'm just like, damn. It's 2 p.m. Whew. Hope you guys don't mind me following this observer. It's pretty relaxing. Is someone lagging? Uh-oh. Rest in Alfredo, fettuccine, tortellini, linguine, pastrami, calzone, parmesan, brie, cheddar, gouda. That's unfortunate. Things like this do happen occasionally. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Now we wait for the kiss of death of the countdown. Did his StarCraft actually crash? Okay, no. Okay, it happens. Sometimes programs and applications can hang. As somebody who works in tech, I can definitely say that I understand. And that it probably was just a random thing, honestly. Let's see what happens in this game now. As the Reaper comes out. That build is a ladder ruiner if you're Zerg. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah, guy in the chat. Guy in the chat knows what's up. I love Hellions. I love Hellions. You know me. That gave me some, like, 4GG vibes. I love Hellions. Boop. Oh, my God. Reynor says, did you think you could kill something of mine with a Reaper? Insert Gruntilda laugh.mp3. And for other guy in the chat asking, is this the final? Yes, it is the final. This is the grand final for the weekly of June 15th. Can you believe we're already halfway through June? Life's crazy, man. Life's crazy. This whole entire year has been the most insane, I think, of my entire life. At least, like, experiencing things that are happening or, like, things that are affecting me that are outside my own life, you know? Just been crazy times. Absolutely hog wild. These weekly cups have been probably the best thing to come out of the giant mess. And I know that we were supposed to have them anyway, but, you know, these things got bumped from, like, $15 a week to, like, $400. Like, these things really got amped up in a big way. There's a lot on the line. Which is just, it's just awesome. You know, I really appreciate ESL and DreamHack and Blizzard coming together to kind of build this out. And obviously ESL and DreamHack are the same company now. So it's really just a lot of like ESL heavy lifting. But I want to give a big shout out to the ESL admins, everybody organizing and setting this stuff up. Because this stuff is awesome. We got two players here that are also just absolutely fantastic. Heromarine is going for his 11th cup win, and Reynor's going for his 4th. I stole that from you. Volt Dylan said it in the chat. He's a smart guy. I trust him. It does look like we're gonna get the battle cruisers, though. I don't know why I would have thought it couldn't happen. So Viking's gonna kill that Overlord, pushing it back. And then there's this one. Now, did he see the Corps de la Fusion? No. So he's not 100% sure that this is gonna be a BC rush, which is very important because Zerg players are probably going to be overreacting to it a little bit. Now, since this patch only recently came out on Tuesday, basically, of last week, which means that this is actually one of the first tournaments being played. We did have the stay-at-home story cup, but that was, you know, on at a different time. So I can't frankly tell you that I was able to watch all of it. It's really hard when most of the stuff that's happening these days is European. I know a lot of people have been asking me about tournaments and whatnot, but it's just... That tournament started at like 2 or 3 in the morning for me, so it's just, yeah, it's just really hard. That's why I haven't been able to cast stuff. It's just tough because I haven't been... There's just not really any events happening in America or for American time zones, which is sad, but, you know, NA StarCraft, I guess. So I do wish I could be doing more live events. I know a bunch of people have been asking about that, but it's just hard. It's hard when somebody asks me to cast and they're like, yeah, you got to wake up at 2 in the morning. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm not 20 anymore. So that battlecruiser is coming in. I'm very interested to see what he can get done. He's got 9 Hellions. He's building 2 more factories as well. So it's going to be another mech game. Eternal Empire, in my honest opinion, is the best map for mech in this pool. And from the last pool as well. This is I would just say I think this map's very Terran favored. It's a very good map to do these kinds of builds, to do these kinds of strategies on. Zerg kind of has to expand in a predictable fashion towards these bases. You can hit high ground from here if they don't take here. Zerg can't really do the same thing to you unless it gets really late because Hydras, you know, you don't really send them across the map early to deny mining or anything like that. So let's see. Where did El Battle Cruiser go? Did I miss it? There we go. Okay. I was like, he didn't teleport it. I was looking at Reynor's base. Usually I just look at the Zerg player's base to see the battlecruiser when it finishes because most Terrans will just teleport straight inside. But if you're concerned about the possibility of like an early lair then you might want to be careful. Just because you don't want to get caught by corruptors. Now, the Queen lost 1 range in the most recent patch. So Queens only have 7 range instead of 8. And the Battlecruiser has always had 6 range. So it actually helps a lot with the BC being able to reposition and work it and twerk it, flip flang, flop it and reverse it. But look at that. He keeps the Queens here. So these Hellions can't do too much, but they're going to go to the high ground now and try to kill the drones from there. So some good harass right now coming in from Heromarine. And he actually has a little Viking escort for this Battlecruiser. He's getting a tremendous amount of damage done, but that's a lot of Zerglings coming in to stifle Heromarine's efforts. He's going to turn into Hellbats just so he can soak up a little more of the sun and the fun. Queen's at the 3rd base, but he goes towards the main. There's still 3 more here, and this is kind of what you have to do versus Battlecruisers, especially with the Queen nerf. He's got 9 Queens, and the BC, it really didn't end up doing a whole lot at the end of the day. It kind of distracted the Queens so that the Hellions could kill some stuff, but then he sends the other BC in, and I honestly feel like the best thing to do in this situation is right-click on drones until the BC gets to red health, and then teleport home. Like, don't dance around. Maybe you want to cancel the 5th base. That's not a terrible idea, but I really like the idea of just sitting there, letting the Queens hit you, and just trying to kill like 7 or 8 drones and teleport home. He did get Yamato, so the commitment to the Battlecruisers is definitely there. He can teleport back home, no big deal. Does he know about this Overseer? Okay, he should. So he's starting to drop the missile turrets. He sees that there are Mutalisks, which I actually find quite interesting. Mutalisks are terrible versus Battlecruisers, just so everybody's aware of that. In case you didn't know, Mutalisks suck versus Battlecruisers. So I assume that the plan here is to either build such an insane number of Mutas that he can crack the BCs, which I actually don't believe will work because we already have Thors coming out onto the map. My guess is that he's really going to try and distract him. I don't know. Just protect this 4th base at all costs, really, for Heromarine. Just get that up. Cyclones are not even bad versus Mutas either because the movement speed discrepancy isn't wide enough that he can't lock on and then just back it up. You know? So those Mutas flying around. Okay, he's still got the Overseer here. Maybe we're going to see a Nidus at some point. Maybe there'll be a Nidus at some point. What is weird is that Heromarine actually can still see this Overseer. He can actually, it's still in his vision. He just has to, you know, if he doesn't kill it, then it could end up coming back to bite him if he ever makes it into like Nidus or Swarm Host or something like that. He's going to start adding more command centers though. That's nice. I think, yeah, high sec auto tracking. He starts turret range, very important. So he's going to try and pick him apart here with the Mutas. And you need to be really, really careful because, yeah, he wants to send the Banelings to the other base. This is definitely one reason to have a few tanks. And the BC, frankly, could kill a lot of Banelings right now if he were to fly over there. Now, here he goes, trying to hit both sides. He does have a tank here. He does have Hellbats waiting on the other side, so it's possible that Heromarine can hold on, but without the Hellions, actually, the Lings are starting to get a lot of work done. The Mutalisks are going for the production, then the Banelings are coming over here to the Planetary Fortress. They are going to be able to kill a lot of SCVs, but not take the base down itself. An opportunity rears its ugly head for Heromarine as he bleeds out a tremendous number of the Mutalisks that were in his base. Now, SCVs have died, but ladies and gentlemen, he still has 74 workers. If you're a Terran player and you're at 74 SCVs, you don't give a shit now because you have plenty of economy. Terran in this particular situation doesn't need more than, honestly, 50 SCVs. He's getting extra orbitals. He's going to have tons of mules available to him. Maybe 1 or 2. Honestly, they could both be planetaries, and maybe I'm wrong. You can't. Mules don't work on gas. Some more Banelings just somehow crashed into this base. That is a little bit unfortunate as he comes all here. And it's just been an absolutely wild, topsy-turvy. I don't even want to just say match, because the last match was equally wild, in my opinion, with Clem and Reynor. But Heromarine definitely taking it to him in quite a way. And I do love seeing that mech play. I don't think Lingbane Muta is very good versus it. It really just comes down in this situation. He needs to get the SCVs repairing in these siege tanks. If they can focus fire the Banelings, he can save this base, but it's going to be hard. Here we go. Lings coming in, and the Banelings, there's quite a few of them. The tank's not able to get the hits they're looking for. Loads some SCVs inside. He's trying to repair, but he can't quite save it. The Thors with the BCs coming in against the Mutalisks. That splash damage is peppering in nicely, but man, losing expansion after expansion is absolutely brutal, and the Nidus network is starting. Remember the Overseer and Fried I can't even speak anymore. I remember. I can't zoom in on it because it's on the edge of the map. Blizzard, please. I won't say Zerg is broken. I'm just going to say the camera is. Lingbane Muta shouldn't be able to do this much here, but unfortunately, Reynor is just too good at the video game. And there it is. Oh, God. He may not even end up needing the worm. All these guys are going to squeeze straight through. I do like using the Drilling Claw mines with the mech, but it may end up being too little too late. There's only 2 missile turrets. The Thor's not in position, and there's the Nidus finishing inside of the main base. He didn't even put anything. There's nothing in it. Okay, that's fine. Maybe he wants to evac some of the Banelings. I don't know. This poor Thor caught out and alone. Don't go through dark alleyways by yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. These Lings catching more siege tanks, going for Cyclones, going for SCVs, and now the Nidus begins to unfurl its wretched entrails of Lings streaming in to the main base of Heromarine. He's desperately trying to hold on here while Reynor eats the map like he's Kobayashi Maru at a Nathan's hot dog competition. I don't know what to say anymore. I mean, I don't know what on earth Heromarine is going to do to get himself out of this. This game has just been him getting the absolute kicked out of him. And he's not dead. He's refusing to die. But I don't know that I see a clear path to victory at this point. Reynor has just been all over him like a spider monkey. I feel like somebody gave Zaboomafoo cocaine. All right, this is a ton of Banelings. I don't have any other way to say it. Is this all 50? Is this all 50 of his Banelings are just chilling here? Yeah, he's ready to rock and roll. So the Ultras are going to distract, push the army back, try to buy time. And this is so many Banelings coming into the 4th base again. Bye-bye turrets, bye-bye orbital, and bye-bye SCVs. Reynor ripping and tearing again into his opponent. He's going to yeet the BCs across the map. Heromarine realizes he's just like, shit, I got to do something. I got to make something happen right here, right now, or I'm going to lose this game in a big, big way. Now, it wasn't free for Reynor to do the damage that he did. He's been sacrificing a lot of units. He doesn't have a bank. He isn't maxed out either. But Heromarine absolutely needs to get something done. Unfortunately, we've got +3 Carapace Queens against unupgraded battlecruisers. They only do 6 damage against the ground, but the Queens have 4 armor. Only 2 damage per hit. He's only going to be able to kill 1 Queen with his BC. And then, well, he's going to lose everything else behind that. The rest of the army tries to move out, but his other 4th base gets ravaged at the same time. I don't know if you can really call that a natural anymore, but he's bringing the Cyclones, he's bringing the Hellions, he's bringing a tank. And unfortunately, those Ultras are going to force this army to back it up. That means the siege tank's going to die. That means it's going to be harder to deal with the Lings, with the Banes, as he starts to surround those few Cyclones that teetered a little too far forward. Hellions do make their way over to the left expansion, pushing those drones back, but the Thors not able to run away. They're not quite so quick. They're a little bit more on the side of thick here, as these Banelings are going to get picked off. And this is what happens when you can get a little bit of Cyclone Hellion going against this comp. Unfortunately, there's just not a whole lot behind it. The Corruptors have actually come over to whiz on this command center. Actually, burying those mines is going to be enough to force him back. He is desperately trying so hard to keep himself alive in this game, but I just do not know that it's going to work out for Heromarine. His only harassed units are running out of steam. That one Hellbat has given up. He's running away from the battle, a traitor to the Terran Dominion. Well, actually, I guess this might be enough mines to kill everything here except the Ultra. That's not too bad either. There's even a drone! It's Gary! It's Gary the drone with his +3 Carapace! And look at this Ultra with 4 health. There you go. Beautiful. GG! Beautiful play by Reynor is the only way I can describe what we just witnessed. He goes up 2-1 now over Heromarine. loading into what could be the final map. Ladies and gentlemen, reaching match point here for the ESL Pro Tour Europe Weekly. In the bottom left, trailing 1-2, we have the blue Terran. He is Heromarine. And his opponent in the northeast, the red Zerg player, he is Reynor. As we have ourselves another difficult match ahead for both players. Heromarine had a pretty good bot build with the Hellions 2 games ago, but man, everybody struggles versus Reynor's macro. I mean, just think about it. We already have our first conversation point in the first couple minutes of every map now. Is he even going to kill a single Zergling with his Reapers? And you're like, well, aren't the Zerglings kind of there to buffer for the drones? He says, no, I just choose to lose nothing. I choose to lose absolutely nothing, is the logic that Reynor has gone for. And he has done it in such a stellar, dominating fashion that it is disgusting. I will be washing myself and taking a shower, and I don't know. I'm going to have to do something else to try and keep myself sane if I keep watching such dominant play. I mean, Reynor's muter control was top-notch. The use of Lingbane Muta against mech is crazy. It's absolutely wild. If you use Mutalisks properly, it's very difficult to get Hellions on the map. So the only thing that can move and shoot for mech, really, is a Cyclone. Because you can't just walk out on the map with Hellion Thor in the early game. You can't just take two Thors and 8 Hellions and go do harass and be safe against Mutas. It doesn't work like that. The Thors get left behind, and then your push becomes really slow, and Zerg gets a lot of time to react. It just doesn't work. So if you can't get enough Cyclones early on to slow down the growth of the Muta count, then it's almost impossible to leave your own base. And thus, the conundrum presents itself. The battlecruisers also didn't really do a whole lot. Will this Reaper get a kill? Pog. Will it kill anything? This is my new favorite game to play. Whenever someone plays versus Reynor, will the Reaper kill anything? The answer, so far today, has been no. One Reaper did kill one Zergling. One of Clem's Reapers, but that's it. So, unfortunately, there's just not a whole lot you can do when you're a poor, sad Reaper. He probably is a little bit happy to see that the third base didn't get taken crazy early. The majority of Terran players, and at least from the way that I see how builds end up going and people react go, is usually that if the Zerg wants to bring some pressure early on or try to attack, if the Terran can survive it, even if they lose a lot, they're still usually happier than they are if the Zerg player just plays crazy eco-focus. And this is still going to be a largely economically focused game, but as he will take this third base. But, Reynor's maybe thinking about just going for fast mutas, or maybe he's going to do something different again. So we have a fusion core for Heromarine. He's thinking about them battle cruisers, and I like the BCs. If you can actually snowball BCs, I think that muta style is actually pretty bad. You just need to be able to defend at home while the BCs move out on the map. Because Corruptors, funny enough, Corruptors actually cost more than Mutalisks do. So if you can force your opponent to build Corruptors to deal with your battle cruisers, it's actually really, really strong. The BCs then become even better because you always Yamato the Corruptors. But Corruptors don't really have the same sort of devastating impact in large numbers that Mutas do. Not versus Terran, at least. Just to kind of break it down a little bit more since we're on game number 4 here. Fun fact. If you lift up a command center that Corruptors are trying to pee on, it will actually still be targeted by the Corruptor caustic spray. But my pro tip for Terrans out there, repair your command center, lift it, and actually move it. Just move it out of range. Because the caustic spray is only 6 range out of Corruptors. So if you repair it, if you just lift it and move it, you can actually move it right back under the Corruptors. Just wait for it to break. Caustic Spray from the Corruptor has a cooldown of roughly 34 seconds, give or take a few, if I recall correctly at least. So, I'm just saying, the Mutalisks have been A+ from Reynor today. And if Heromarine wants to claw his way back into this series and win, he 100% needs to find a way to deal with them. Little supply drop coming in to make sure that he can continue to pump out those units nonstop. The Hellions are putting on a pretty good amount of pressure, honestly. He's getting very close to where these queens could actually be killed. They're all out of energy now. There are a few banelings. There are some lings. As long as he doesn't take a bane hit, yeah, he's just going to send the battlecruiser straight up. Now, here's the interesting thing. Because Reynor's Spire is done, what he's decided to do is still build those 6 Mutalisks. So, while the 6 Mutas, with the rest of the supporting cast from the Zerg, should be able to deal with the BC, if he kills all the Banelings and all the Zerglings with the Hellions, though, he can still kill all the drones like that. Yeah, and I love this. Just put the BC right there, get those drones moving. There's the Hell. I actually think you should want to just keep these in Hellion mode, if I'm being honest, because the Hellbats are just a little bit too slow, and there's not really anything else that can fight against them. Because this battlecruiser is going to die. But yeah, I wish he'd been able to get some more drones, honestly. This has been very good for Heromarine, don't get me wrong. But I'm definitely feeling the concern there. Okay, there we go. The rest of the Hellions are coming in. Can the Mutas kill the Hellions before they do game-ending amounts of damage is the real question. It looks like survey says, I don't think so, actually. No, 10 drone kills. With how few workers he's been able to produce, this is a fantastic spot for Heromarine. He has turrets already built. I mean, I'd like to see another one by the production here, but maybe it's bait. Maybe he's just going to put the 2 mines by the factory or the add-on. But I don't see anything wrong with building these turrets, man. A lot of people love to give Terran players shit for it, but especially when you're playing mech, you're usually more gas-starved. And frankly speaking, if your opponent has been doing so well with mutas, there's really no reason not to overcommit against them. Right? Like, if you can't beat them without doing this, then do it, man. If you think that this is the best way for you to win, do it. I love building lots of missile turrets. I think it's a good play. So it looks like he just finished another battlecruiser. Did it just teleport? I heard the sound. Yeah, so he wants to kind of backstab him a little bit in this main base, which is very interesting. All these drones are pulled away. So I guess he somehow knew where it went. And this is nice, because at the very least, he's pulling the Mutalisks home while he tries to get up his other bases. But then I guess Reynor's still going to get lings in, so maybe it doesn't matter. Because the battlecruiser does a lot less damage to ground, or excuse me, to air than it does ground. It's 8 damage per shot with no upgrades versus ground, and it's 5 against air. So I talked about snowballing with BCs, but I guess that's not what he wants to do. And far be it for me to say how anybody needs to play this game, especially since I'm not even remotely close to the level of skill of Heromarine, but I'm definitely feeling antsy already. Well, I much prefer single target Thors. I don't know. I'm weird. I'm very weird. But this is actually really smart, though. He's getting mines, drilling claws. He's going to build a tank. But I just hope, as long as Heromarine doesn't build too many tanks, I'll be pretty happy. I'll be pretty happy if Heromarine doesn't build too many tanks. I think... Oh my god, this Baneling refuses to die without getting value. But I feel like, really, your focus should just be to get a shit ton of Thors. Just more Thors than the Mutalisks could ever break. And then rely on the Hellion support. Because siege tanks are just not that great versus Ling Bane. If you can fight out on the map, the Hellions and mines can be okay versus Banelings. The problem is he's able to lean so much on these air units that it's extremely hard for the siege tanks to provide value while the Thors are constantly being forced to run around and defend. And as we see again, that Muta harass. He's going to try and keep him pinned in his base forever. And he's like, oh, 1 Thor? Maybe I'll add some more Mutalisks and come back and kill that 1 Thor and that's a couple turrets. And then you're going to have to move everything else back over again. Oh, there is 1 Widow Mine behind this, and he's doing a really good job of not triggering it. Oh, 2 mines, excuse me. Well, I guess if he thought there was 1 mine, he might have gone in and lost all of them, huh? Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. Because he's not like he's been bringing an Overseer with the Mutas. He doesn't really do that until he gets a lot more. And by which point, you know, the value of putting the mines further out, I think, is lost. But I'd like to see like a mine here, mine there, mine here, there. You know, you want to cover the chokes where there's not enough range for them to be run around. Oh, those 2 mines could have done a lot of damage. He's so good. I want to see engineering bay upgrades. Give me building armor. Give me high-sec auto tracking. I know it cuts out of the army, but this is part of the problem. The static defense is actually becoming an integral part of the defense for Heromarine. The static defense is becoming integral to his ability to win this game, because Mutalisks are partially winning this by constantly just picking off random turrets, and he's bleeding out. He's been bleeding out thousands of minerals of resources off of just not having enough, as hard as it is to admit. And here he goes. He's going to try and just dive in on this one Thor. The mines not prepared. The siege tanks are going to get blown up, and he might say, hey, you know what? I don't want to lose anything to these cyclones. He could totally have killed all those cyclones, by the way, and probably the PF there if he really wanted to. But he's like, yeah, just pick off a Thor here or there. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I've been talking about. It's because Heromarine been building tanks and cyclones. But really, only thing that Reynor cares about is killing a Thor or 2. He'll trade a couple mutas for a Thor. As long as the Thor count never gets high enough for Heromarine to be able to push out against 30 mutas, it doesn't matter. There's nothing he can do to win the game. Right? No amount of siege tanks, Hellions, mines, or cyclones. Theoretically, enough cyclones could fight the mutas. But enough supply of cyclones that could kill these mutas would be useless then, because you wouldn't be able to have enough of anything else to deal with the Ling Bane. And then you die. So, like, this whole entire game just turns into a massive freaking nightmare. Because the only thing that could possibly open up the door for Heromarine to leave his base against this type of army composition, at least, like I said, in my opinion as a commentator, has got to be just a shit ton of Thors. And, like, he's up to 4 now, which isn't bad. It's not bad. But I just like to see more. This is the value of the mutas, though, is you can't really do too much with the Hellions anymore. It's just really hard, because as soon as you step on creep, then the mutas are there. Then the Hellions die. So the only way to really move out of your base is with anti-air. And with this many mutas, the only thing that you could possibly have then is a death push with like 6 or 7 Thors. I said 8 earlier, because I personally would prefer 8, but that just be how it is sometimes, though. And then you see another Thor gone. Couple units move out. Boom. The mutas swallow them whole. There's 27 mutas on the map. And this is what ends up happening. Because even 1 Thor and some cyclones isn't enough. You need to have, like, just a shit ton of Thors. I honestly feel like that the mass Thor style is even better nowadays, just because Banelings do less damage versus non-light units now. They nerfed Baneling damage versus armored. Yeah, they see, there you go. Now the mutas come in, and unless you have a ton of Thors, like an insane number, mutas don't care. No, Reynor has just run a clinic on Heromarine here. He's absolutely clapped him super hard. I don't have any other words. I just don't have anything else to say. Mutalisks naturally don't box up that much. And like I was saying earlier, the Thor's anti-air splash is the same size of a corrosive bile. Like, unless the Mutalisk's little yellow things on the bottom, these are the flyer indicators. Unless those are touching, you won't be able to hurt more than 1 Mutalisk. If you shoot a muta that doesn't have one of those circles touching the others, like, the Thor really just does not do a whole lot of damage to any of the other Mutalisks. Which is why you need a stupid number of Thors to be able to push out against this type of army. The Hellions are doing a little bit, but he's going to trade. At this point, when you're trading Hellions against Lings and Drones, it doesn't matter, because it's the Zerg player is going to have so much more income accessibility than you. Heromarine doing a good job. He's starting to spread out more, though, right? And this is where it gets scary. Like, he doesn't have building armor. He did get missile turret range, so the turrets now have 8 range instead of 7, which is really nice. This is just such a stressful situation for the Terran to be in. He's building 3 Thors now. I love it. Okay, so he's going to get up to 6 Thors. Yeah, just only build Thors, really. He's not baiting you. He's not trying to go into Roaches or Ravagers. Just spread everything out so that the Banelings can't be too efficient. Really, that's what you need to do. The mutas are hitting that south base while all these Banelings come crashing down. And this was the concern. You actually can't repair here. So now all these tanks are going to die. Possibly the planetary. Some Thors do show up. Let's just kill the tanks. Ah, oh, good shot there. What was he up to? 3? It looks like he got 3 kills with the Thor. But once those tanks are no longer in a good number. Hey, Twitch chat, guess what happens when there's no more tanks and only Thors? Thors, 6 Thors cannot kill 20 Banelings before they run into a planetary. Also, it will be more than 20 Banelings run into the planetary to make sure that it dies with all the SCVs. But there you go. Adrenal glands, pathogen glands. So now the Zerg army is just going to be better than it was before. You're going to add that perma-stim upgrade for the Lings. And that is going to make things very, very difficult. Because having a few tanks isn't bad. But you need to have only enough to deal with... You need to have only enough siege tanks to be able to deal with Banelings. But here we go. Another big wave comes crashing through. If the tanks can kill the Banes, that's very good. And as you can see, he's not afraid to crash the Banelings into the Thors either. As long as the Thor count drops enough, the Mutas will be able to come and deal damage somehow. Yeah, so he pulled the Thors to try and help. Well, guess what? When you use that F2 key, the Mutas come in on your planetary, and that is bye-bye. I don't know. I ain't got nothing to tell you, man. This has been an absolutely brutal game. Absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal domination. A curb stomping, if you will, by Reynor. It's really the only way to describe it. Eats a couple of hits there to try and snipe that tank. But Heromarine really needs to just like muster up an army that he can try to move out with. Or this will never end. It will never end. Really good mine hit there. 6 Banelings picked off. Now, can he protect this base? Can he actually save it? The Banes and Lings are coming and crashing. The mech is clumped up enough for the Banelings to provide that value. And then also run over and grab the planetary while they're at it. And yes, he can repair, but there's just so much Zerg here. It does not matter. The Lings, the Banes swarming over that expansion is killed yet again. And he does finally trim the fat on the Mutalisk count. Finally. There's only 5 Mutalisks. But unfortunately, we pull up the income tab, and let me tell you, you thought mules were good? Well, having every frickin' base on your half of the map is pretty good too. If I told you someone was mining 3,500 minerals a minute, you would tell me it's because of mules. But that ain't the case. Reynor just has so much to work with. And Heromarine in the last 2 games has not been able to leave his base once. The only thing he could do is the desperation warp into his opponent's main with the, or the third, excuse me, with the battle cruisers. And even that wasn't enough. GG, Reynor has done it and takes this best of 5. Congratulations.